What's up guys, TSJAwesome 628 here, back again with another My Team career mode, this time for the 4th episode at the Vietnam Grand Prix. So, we're here just sorting out our activity timeline. And we have 3 pretty obvious ones in my opinion, because of how the time we had. I decided to get a resource point income with my development feedback because I thought it would be a better way of doing it, because it was quite cheap and it will give me back resource points in the long run. So obviously Jack Aitken got our first points in the Bahrain Grand Prix, so I really hope that we can, I don't know, get some points on the board ourselves. Weather forecast is going to be completely dry for Vietnam, so nothing changes there. We've completed practice now and we're going to put 1 engine power upgrade and 1 chassis upgrade on. Mainly because we've already got 2 aero upgrades on the go, so we can't do any more of those. So we had to do 1 powertrain and 1 chassis. We are slowly making progress towards the midfield teams, and maybe eventually we can get to P4. As we're on our first qualifying lap here, we've got relatively little experience, to put it, around this track, but we are going to go for 2 runs in this session. So at the end of the first run, as we cut on, it isn't a brilliant lap, it's a 1:35.9, but I think we can improve on that and hopefully get ourselves into Q2. We are currently in P19 as we head on to our second run, and we're going to start it. Not losing a bit of time off the line, but other than that we are doing alright. We go through first 2 corners, and through the end of the lap there is a slight glitch with the delta. We're actually about 4 tenths up, but yeah, as we improved by 4.5 tenths, but for some reason it wasn't showing us that. But it puts us up to P12, and hopefully that will be enough to get us through to P2, because, well, we're just going to skip to the end of the session, because I don't see enough people knocking us down to P17, which wouldn't get us through. So we end the session. Sadly, Jack Aitken is knocked out, but we survive in P15 ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi and Kimi Räikkönen, who we, this episode, which I haven't shown, have selected as our rival, mainly because obviously in Australia and Bahrain he overtook us like a few laps to go. So I thought when they gave us the option of having him as our rival that I would accept it and bring on the challenge. He's knocked out though, so we will get some points against him for out-qualifying him, and in Q2 we are going to try another 2 runs and see whether we can get a good position, because I don't want to be the P15 that we were in Q1 and Q2, because that wouldn't help, but we won't have the pace to get into Q3 I don't think, so it's just going to be about trying to get as close to P11 as possible, because I don't think Q3 would even be a good thing for us, because it means we'd have to start on the soft tyre. We did have a couple of tyre wear issues in Bahrain, you know, so I'll see if that was just a one-off, and in Australia I guess with the same tyre wear issues, but I have a feeling this car is not as good at tyre wear as I originally thought it would be, considering the engineer's strategies. But we go on to our second lap of Q2 now, and gaining already 2/10 in the first few corners. So as we slowly go along, and we're already 3/10 up, cut towards the end of the lap, and well, going through the final corner we're over a second up, and I wonder where that's going to put us. And I can tell you now, it is P11 for the Vietnam Grand Prix, which is a very good qualifying position, the best I think we could have hoped for. Obviously, in the end it actually shows we did have the pace to get P9 maybe as a maximum, but I think P11 was the best pace we could wanted to start, because we'll get a fresh choice of tyres and we'll definitely use that to start on the mediums. But we have Ricciardo and Ocon again doing well. So we have Lewis Hamilton on pole and Bottas alongside. Then we have Leclerc and Vettel. And then Verstappen in 5th and Albon 6th. Ricciardo and Sainz are 7th and 8th. Perez 9th, Ocon 10th. I start P11 with Stroll in P12. Norris 13th, Fiat 14th, Gasly 15th, Giovinazzi 16th, Raikkonen 17th, Grosjean 18th, Magnussen 19th, Aitken 20th, and the 2 Williams of Russell and Latifi round out the grid. So this is the strategy for the race. We have what should be a one-stop from mediums to softs, but I'm doubting that, which is a problem, because I really want to do it, but I feel like the tyre wear may force us into a different strategy, because it says it is possible to do a one-stop from mediums to softs, but we'll have to see how long the mediums go. But we have a relatively good start, and we are up to P7, and Vettel and Verstappen are immediately ahead of us, squabbling, and Ricciardo is up to P4, it seems, which would be a great result for the Renault driver, but I assume that he will shortly be overtaken by Vettel and Verstappen as we head further on to lap 1. I'm going to go down straight here, and obviously we are on a slower tyre to the cars around us, so I doubt we'll have as much pace as they do, and we are in a slower car. But hopefully the slowness of the car will soon be fixed with some more upgrades in the future. So we head on to lap 2, and Ocon is already pressurising us, and you see Verstappen's already miles away in the distance. But we always were good at the roundabout section, and as we came through here, looked really good, as Ricciardo made quite a big error, and that allowed us to come back onto closing up on them. So Verstappen overtook him, and we were much closer, and that definitely wasn't an overtaking spot, so Ricciardo must have run wide or something. We're going to go up to the hairpin here, and we'll keep Ocon and Albon behind, and despite the slight squirm on the exit, we hold P7 for the time being as we go towards the final section and the S section. And you're just going to see us throw it into the corners. At the end of lap 2, Hamilton sets the fastest laps, slowly beaten by Bottas, but again the Mercedes are looking quite strong around here. And we are generally doing okay though. Ocon is finally going to overtake us after quite a bit of pressure here, but as we head onto the main straight, we're being swamped by Sainz and Albon here, as Albon goes down the inside of everyone, and he's made contact with Ocon, and Ocon has spun round, and there's a massive pile up Perez has managed to get through all of this, but we're going to be slightly okay as we see Albon just locked up and just smashed straight into the side of Ocon there. And I think a few drivers got major front wing damage from that, because Giovinazzi and Stroll both, or maybe it wasn't Stroll, but Giovinazzi and someone else pitted. I think it was Kvyat actually. And I can tell you now from the future, we did also pick up front wing damage from that, but I didn't realise, which is sad, because our pace was very slow. As you see, we've already lost 2 seconds to Lance Stroll on that last lap, and another 2 and a bit seconds on this lap. So it isn't looking good for our race as we're still here in P8. I can also tell you the tyre wear, as predicted, was not good, and I just really hope in the future we can get some tyre wear upgrades on the car. But as we head to the end of lap 6 now, Norris is the one directly behind us. He must have got past Stroll at some point, but at the start of lap 7 he's just going to breeze past us. We don't really have a fight on, and I think our main aim is Stroll will overtake us, and then we've got a 10-second gap back to Ocon, who may also have a bit of front wing damage or something. Obviously he was spun around, so he may not be as quick, so I hope we can keep him behind. As we come to the end of lap end of lap 7 on the start of lap 8, Verstappen is in the pits in front of us, but I don't really know what this yellow flag came out for, because Verstappen was the only car on the track there. Maybe they just thought he was going slowly on the exit of the pits or something, because it just came out for no reason, it seems. But Stroll overtook us. We got DRS and decided we were going to have a go at getting him, but he was just too quick in the straight, and basically we didn't see him again, as he just went on in the distance. And we've actually gained on Ocon. He's now 11 seconds behind, which is good news, so hopefully we can keep him behind. Ricciardo and Perez both pitted, and now Ricciardo's just going to breeze straight past us, which is a major issue for showing how bad our pace is, that Ricciardo is a pit stop ahead of us already. Obviously there was the incident which did lose us quite a bit of time as well, but Perez seems to also be catching back up to us, and he is going to go for it on this straight here. We're going to pit this lap. As you saw, our tyres are above 50%, and if you looked at our original strategy, we wanted to go to lap 17 on these mediums to go to the softs at the end, so we're definitely going to have to go on the hards if we want a chance of going to the end. So you see me change it on the bottom right from softs to hards. We are P9 as it stands, but I think that we will lose the position to Norris, but we'll be ahead of Giovinazzi. But as you also see, all of the AI have gone on to softs again, which means that they are going to have to pit again. So this is our final pit stop, and we have whatever the gap is to the car behind, plus an extra pit stop's time to hold on to this final points position. And at this stage of the race I was feeling great. Obviously I still didn't realise we had front wing damage. I was a bit questioned by our pace, but I just assumed that it was just because we had quicker cars catching up to us, and I was just new to the track. But now I realise later on in the race that I did indeed have front wing damage. We come to the end of lap 13, we set a new personal best, and Ocon and Sainz are catching up to us. They're soon going to be within our DRS range, but they do have another pit stop to make. So we will see how quickly they catch up to us. We've got 13 laps to go, and we'll probably have about a 20-second gap to them. So as we pick up our first track extension of the race, and we come on and we don't quite set a new personal best after 2 green sectors, but Ocon is getting considerably closer to us. But you can see on the other side of the track there is a yellow flag, and one car is dropping out of the race there. Wait to see who it is. The notifications will be coming back up onto our screen, as Ocon can't quite get past us. That Alex Albon, after making contact with Ocon, has basically had a terrible race and has now dropped out of the Grand Prix. Perez is now back in the pits, but he was already a pit stop ahead of us, so he isn't going to trouble us. And Ocon is going to try and get past us here, but we're going to try and keep it round the outside and going to get a better exit and keep the position. So 11 laps for us to hold, and you can see the gap to Carlos Sainz behind is 19 seconds. So I believe we can hold that. It's now 18 seconds as we come to the end of the lap though, so it will slowly close down, and we're literally just going to keep flying on. End of lap 18, it's now 15 seconds, and he is making considerable gains on us. That was 3 seconds on that last lap, and as we head on to the end of lap 19, he gains another 2.5 seconds out of us. So he isn't gaining as much with each upcoming lap, but he is gaining, and he gains another 2.5 seconds on lap 20, which means he will soon be catching up to us. And he gains another 2.5 seconds on lap 21, and well, at this pace he'll have caught us by the end of lap 24, as he only gains 1.5 seconds on lap 22 though, which means his pace was starting to dry up slightly. But we did set a really good lap on that on lap 22, and a not so good lap when he gained another 2.5 seconds on lap 23. So he's now within DRS range on lap 24 as I predicted, and we're going to have 4 laps to hold on to this final points paying position. And he is in a quicker car, and you can see he's gaining and gaining, but we're starting to pull away again on the straight, and he goes for around the outside, but he wasn't considerably quicker on that straight, and that gave me hope that we could indeed defend this position. And I wanted to defend it, like as it's in the title, I'm defending for my life, because Jack obviously already got his first points in Bahrain, and as it's theoretically my team, I don't want him being the person that's consistently outshining me. As Sainz goes round the outside into turn 1, but rounds turns 2 and 3, we go side by side and eventually squeeze him out and keep the position on lap 25. But all of this is allowing Ocon, who was also about 6 seconds behind, to catch up. Sainz again is going to go for it on this straight, and he's trying to warrant some space there, but I left him all the space on the other side and he chose that side. But again, he's tried to go to the outside, and we can just squeeze him out on the exit, and we have the inside line. Ocon is now right behind us as well, so we're going to have a 3-way battle for the final 3 laps of the race. But as we head on to lap 26, Sainz is going to go for this up the inside. We're going to get a nice switchback on him, and he sort of ducks out the corner slightly, and we are going to go round the outside again here and try and squeeze him out. But we go a bit too wide and try and not push him away, and we've managed to cut the corner again, and that's our second warning. If we get one more warning, we'll get a 3-second penalty and therefore be down to P12, so we need to make sure we don't get any more of those in the final 2 laps. We head through this roundabout section here, and Carlos Sainz looks like he's going to get a good exit, and is probably the closest he's ever been. But again, this time Ocon has the overspeed, and Ocon's going to go past Sainz, which means because of them battling, they didn't really have the best run on me. So despite the fact Sainz was the closest, he couldn't really go for it. So we're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin, and Ocon sort of hit me slightly in the same way that Albon hit him. But we go wide, but still keep the position here. Another yellow flag is out for another car on the other side, and this time it's the AlphaTauri of Danny Kvyat. So we're going to keep the position at the end of lap 26. 2 more laps to defend this position. Go slightly wide into the hairpin as confirmation of Danny Kvyat's retirement. And Ocon isn't quite as close as Sainz usually is going to turn 1, which could help us. I'm not sure as we head on to the first of the 2 straights. And again, Ocon doesn't look as close as Sainz has in previous times. As we close and make our one move, but Ocon is still going to go for it here. But we are going to keep it down the inside, and we're going to try and hold him off for the position. And that was very good position to do so, because as we head towards this S section here, 1 more lap to try and defend. As we head on to the final lap, we're going to Ocon looks to try and go for it round the outside, but we squeeze him out. And as you can see here, we've squeezed him so much out that he is very, very close to Carlos Sainz, and they had a very big battle, let's just say, and they lost a bunch of time, because you could see the yellow front wing. I don't know if you could see it there, which just proved my doubts, as I found out on the final lap when I was checking for damage that I had actually had front wing damage the entire time. But we are slightly negative in fuel, but that shouldn't matter because we have enough time to get it back into the green as we come around the S section of the final lap, and we have 2 more corners to go, and we're still in P10, and we are back in the green on fuel as we come round the final corner to take our first points of the season and our first points for our team. So me and Jack are now both tied on a point apiece, but that is a great result for us as Kevin Magnussen wins driver of the day. He wasn't even in the top 10, so I don't know why he won driver of the day, but he wasn't even in the top 14.
Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed and a good job in traffic as well. Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to
and Albon and Kvyat both DNF, with the Williams being lost. Hamilton and Bottas still lead the championship in their marks, and we are just ahead of Alfa Romeos, Haas, AlphaTauri and Williams, who haven't scored yet, but not really challenging the Racing Point, McLaren and Renaults. Now for our interview with Claire, and she asks us about our expectations and our secret, and well, we don't really have, I don't really think I have really any expectations, because I didn't know how this first season of my team would go, so, but I just say that we have a great team and a great car, just to compliment them, and say, yeah, you're doing a great job, and then hopefully they'll be better at putting upgrades on as well in the future. And then she asks us about all our collisions and why they happened, and we just say that the wear on our car was a bit unpredictable. That is going to wrap up the episode though, and the next time out is the Chinese Grand Prix, so I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully we can get some more points on the board.